For a moment, the cameras hold on on Petra's downcast eyes as what he says sinks in. Then I can see my face, mouth half open in a mix of surprise and protest, magnified on every screen, and I realize, me, he means me. I press my lips together and stare at the floor, hoping this will conceal the emotions that start boiling inside of me. Oh, that's a piece of bad luck, says Caesar, and there's a real edge of pain in his voice. The crowd is murmuring in agreement. A few have given agonized cries. It's not good, agrees Petra. Well, I don't think any of you can blame you. It'd be hard not to fall in for that young lady, says Caesar. She didn't know? Not until now. I allow my eyes to flicker up to the screen long enough to see that the blush on my cheeks is unmistakable. Wouldn't you love to pull her back out here and give a response? As Caesar asked the crowd. The crowd screams in assent. Sadly, rules are rules, and Katniss Evergreen's time has been sent. Well, best of luck to you, Petra and Malark, and I think I'll speak for all of Panem when I say our hearts go with yours. The roar of the crowd is deafening. Petra has absolutely whipped the rest of us off the map with his declaration of love for me. When the audience finally settles down, he chokes up a quiet thank you and returns to his seats. We stand for the anthem. I have to raise my head out of the required respect and cannot avoid seeing that every screen is now dominated by a shot of Petra and me, separated by a few feet that in the viewers' heads can never be reached. Poor tragic us, but I know better. After the anthem, the tributes file back into the training center lobby and onto the elevators. I make sure to veer into a car that does not contain Petra. The crowd slows our encouragement entourages of stylists and mentors and chaperones. So we have only each other for company. No one speaks. My elevator stops to deposit 4 tributes before I am alone and I find the doors opening on the 12th floor. Petra has only stepped from his car and I slam my palms into his chest. He loses his balance and crashes into an ugly urn filled with flake flowers. The urn tips and shatters into 100 tiny pieces. Petra lands and shards, blood immediately flowing from his hands. What was that for? He says aghast. You had no right to go saying those things about me. I shout at him. Now the elevator opened, and the whole crew is there. Effie, Hamish, Sina, and Portia. What's going on? Says Effie, a note of hysteria in her voice. Did you fall? After she shoved me, says Petra, as Effie and Sina help him up. Hamish turns to me. Shoved him. This was your idea, wasn't it? Turning me into some kind of fool in front of the entire country, I answer. It was my idea, says Petra, and helped me with it. Yes, Hamish is very helpful. To you, I say. You are a fool, Hamish says with disgust. Do you think he hurt you? The boy just gave you something you could never achieve on your own. He made me look weak, I say. He made you look desirable. And let's face it. You use all the help you can get in that department. You were about as romantic as dirt until he said he wanted you. Now they all do. You're all they've talking about. The star-crossed lovers from District 12, says Hamish. We are not star-crossed lovers, I say. Hamish grabs my shoulder and pins me against the wall. Who cares? It's all a big show. It's all how you perceive. The most I could say about you after your interview that you were nice enough. Although that in itself was some miracle. Now I can say you're a heartbreaker. Oh, 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 how the boys back home fall lovingly against your feet. Do you think you will get more sponsors? The smell of wine on his breath makes me sick. I shove his hands on my shoulder and step away, trying to clear my head. Zena comes over and puts his arms toward me. He's right, Katniss. I don't know what to say. I should have been told, or I didn't look so stupid. Oh, your reaction was perfect. If you know, it would have read as well, says Portia. She's just worried about her boyfriend, says Petra gruffly, tossing a bloody piece of the urn. My cheeks burn against the thought of Gale. I don't have a boyfriend. Whatever, says Petra, but I bet he's smart enough to know a bluff when he says it. Besides, you didn't say you loved me, so why does that matter? The words are sinking in, my anger fading. I've been torn now between thinking that I've been used and thinking I've been given an edge. Hamish is right. I survived my interview. So what was I really? A silly girl spinning in a sparkly dress, giggling. The only moment of any substance I was when I talked about Prim. Compare that with Thresh, his silent deadly power, and I'm forgettable. Silly and sparkly and forgettable. No, not entirely forgettable. I have an 11 in training. But now Petra has made me an object of love. Not just his, to hear him tell it that I have many admirers. And if the audience really thinks we're in love, I remember how strongly they respond to his confession. Star-crossed lovers. Hamish is right. They eat that stuff up in the Capitol. Suddenly, I'm worried that it didn't react properly. After he said he loved me, do you think I could be in love with him too? I did, says Portia. The way you avoided looking at the cameras, the blush. The others chimed in, agreeing. You're golden, sweetheart. You're going to have sponsors lined up around the block, says Hamish. I'm embarrassed about my reaction. I forced myself to acknowledge Pecha. I'm sorry I shoved you. Doesn't matter, he shrugs, although it's technically illegal. Are your hands okay? They'll be all right, he says. In the silence that follows, delicious smells of our dinner waft into the dining room. Come on, let's eat, says Hamish. We all follow him to the table and take our places. But then Petra is bleeding too heavily, and Portia leads him off for medical treatment. We start the cream and rose petal soup without them. By the time we're finished, they're back. Petra's hands are wrapped in bandages. I can't help feeling guilty. Tomorrow we'll be in the arena. He has done me a favor and I answered him with an injury. Will I ever stop owing him? After dinner, we watched a replay in the sitting room. I seem frilly and shallow, twirling and giggling in my dress, although the others assure me I'm charming. Petra actually is charming and utterly winning as a boy in love. And there I am, blushing and confused, made beautiful by Sina's hands, desirable by Petra's confession, tragic by the circumstances, and by all accounts unforgettable. When the anthem finishes and the screen goes dark, its hushes falls in the room. Tomorrow at dawn we'll be roused and prepared for the arena. The actual games don't start until 10 because so many of the capital residents rise late. But Petra and I must have an early start. There is no telling how far we will travel in the arena that has been prepared for this year's games. I know Hamish and Jeffrey will not be going with us. As soon as they leave here, they'll be in the game headquarters, hopefully madly signing up our sponsors, working out a strategy on how and when to deliver the gifts to us. Sina and Portia will travel with us to every spot from which will be launched into the arena. Save final goodbyes must be said here. Effie takes both of us by the hand and with actual tears in her eyes wishes us well. Thanks for being the best tributes that has been the privilege of sponsor. And then because it's Effie and she apparently required by law to say something awful, she adds, I wouldn't be at all surprised if I finally get promoted to the decent district this year. Then she kisses us both on the cheek and hurries out, overcome with either the emotional parting or the possible improvement of her fortunes. Hamish crosses his arms and looks at both us over. Any final words of advice, says Petra. When the gong sounds, get the hell out of here. The neither of you up to the bloodbath in the court tap. Just clear out. Put as much distance as you can between yourselves and the others and find a source of water, he says. Got it? And after that, I asked. Stay alive, says Hamish. It's the same advice he's given on the train, but he's not drunk and laughing this time, and we all nod. What else is there to say? Then I head for my room. Petra lingers to talk to Portia. I am glad. Whatever strange words of parting we exchange can't wait until tomorrow. My covers are drawn back, but there is no sign of the red-headed Avox girl. I wish I knew her name. I should have asked it. She could write it down maybe, or act it out. But perhaps that'll be a result of punishment for her. I take a shower and scrub the gold paint, the makeup, the scent of beauty from my body. All that remains of the design team's efforts are the flames on my nails. I decide to keep them as a reminder of who I am in the audience. Katniss, the girl who was on fire. Perhaps it had given me something to hold on to in the days to come. I put on the thick, fleecy nightgown and climb into bed. It takes me about 5 seconds to realize I'll never fall asleep. Then I need sleep desperately because in the arena, every moment I give to fatigue will be an invitation to death. It's no good. 1 hour, 2, 3 pass, and my eyelids refuse to get heavy. I can't stop trying to imagine exactly what terrain I'll be thrown into. Desert, swamp, a frigid wasteland. Above all, I'm hoping for trees, which may afford me some means of concealment and food and shelter. Often, there are trees because barren landscapes are dull and the game makers resolve too quickly without them. But what will the climate be like? What traps have the game makers hidden to liven up the slower moments? And then there are the fellow tributes. The more anxious I am to find sleep, the more it eludes me. Finally, I am too relentless to even stay in bed. I pace the room floor, heart beating too fast, breathing too short. My room feels like a prison cell. If I don't get air soon, I'm going to start to throw things again. I run down the hall to the door to the roof. It's not only unlocked but ajar. Perhaps someone forgot to close it, but it doesn't matter. The energy field enclosing the roof prevents any desperate form of escape. And I'm not looking to escape, only to fill my lungs with air. I want to see the sky and the moon on the last night that no one will be hunting me. The roof is not lit at night, but as soon as my bare feet reach its tile surface, I see his silhouette, back against the lights that shine endlessly in the capital. There is a quiet commotion going on down the streets, music and singing and car horns, none of which I could hear through the thick glass window panels in my room. I could slip away now without him noticing me, and he wouldn't hear me over the din. But the night air is so sweet I can barely return to that stuffy cage of my room. And what difference does it make whether we speak or not? My feet move soundlessly across the tiles. I'm only a yard behind him when I say, "You should be getting some sleep." He stares but doesn't turn. I can see him give his head a slight shake. I didn't want to miss the party. It's Russ after all. I come up beside him and lean over the edge of the rail. The wide streets are full of dancing people. I squint to make out their tiny figures in more detail. Are they in costumes? Who could tell, says Petra, with all the crazy clothes they wear here. Couldn't sleep either. Couldn't turn my mind off. I say, think about your family? He says, no, I'm a bit guilty. All I can do is wonder about tomorrow, which is pointless, of course. In the lights from below, I can see his face now, the awkward way he holds his bandaged hands. I really am sorry about your hands. It doesn't matter, Candace, he says. I've never been a contender at this games anyway. There's no way to be thinking. I say, why not? It's true. My best hope is not to disgrace myself. And he hesitates. And what? I don't know how to say this exactly, only I want to die as myself. Does that make any sense? He asked. I shake my head. How could he die as anyone but himself? I don't want them to change me in there. Turn me into some kind of killer monster that I am not. I bit my lip, feeling inferior. While I've been ruminating on the evality of trees, Peter has been struggling how to maintain his identity, his pure self. Do you mean you won't kill anyone? I asked. No, when the time comes, I'm sure I will kill just like anybody else. But I can't go without a fight. Only I keep wishing I could think of a way to show the capital that they don't own me, that I'm more than just a piece of their games, says Pecha. But you're not. None of us are. That's how the games work. Okay, but within that framework, there's still you and there's still me, he says and says, don't you see? A little. Only, no offense, but who cares, Petra? I say, I do. I mean, what else am I allowed to care about at this point? He says angrily. He locked his bull's eyes on mine now, demanding an answer. I take a step back. Care about what Hamish says, about staying alive. Petra smiled at me, and sad and mocking. Okay, thanks for the tip, sweetheart. It's like a slap in the face. His use of Hamish's patronic endearment. Look, if you want to spend the last hours of your life planning some noble death in the arena, that's your choice. I want to spend mine in District 12. Wouldn't surprise me if you do. Give my mother my best when she make it back, will you? Count on it, I say. Then I turn and leave the roof. I spend the rest of the night slipping in and out of those, imagining the cutting remarks I will make to Petra Maillard in the morning. Petra Maillard. We will see now high and mighty he is, now he's faced with life and death. He's probably turned into one of those raging beast tributes, the kind who tries to eat someone's heart after they've killed them. There was a guy like that a few years ago from District 6 called Titas. He went completely savage, and the game makers had to have him stunned with electric guns to collect the bodies of the players he's killed before he ate them. There are no rules in the arena, but cannibalism doesn't play well with a capital audience, so they tried to head it off. There was some speculation that the avalanche that finally took Titas out was specifically engineered to ensure the victor was not a lunatic. I don't see Petra in the morning. Sina comes with me before dawn, gives me a simple shift to wear, and guides me to the cannonballs of the arena himself. The hovercraft appears out of thin air, just like the one did in the woods the day I saw the red-headed Avox girl captured, and the ladder drops down. I place my hands and feet on the lower rungs, and instantly it's as if I'm frozen. Some kind of current glues me to the ladder while I'm lifted safely inside. I expect the ladder to release me then, but I'm still stuck when a woman in a white-collar coat approaches me carrying a syringe. This is your tracker, Candace. The stiller you are, the more efficiently I can place it, she says. Still, I'm a statue, but that doesn't prevent me from flinching at the sharp stab of pain the needle inserts in the metal tracking device deep under the skin of inside my forearm. Now the game makers will always be able to trace my whereabouts in the arena. Wouldn't want to lose a tribute. Just as the tracker's in place, the ladder releases me. The woman disappears and Sina is retrieved from the roof. The Avox boy comes in and directs us to the room where breakfast has been laid out. Despite the tension in my stomach, I eat as much as I can, although none of this delectable food makes an impression on me. I'm so nervous I could be eating coal dust. The one thing that distracts me all is the view of the windows as we sail over the city and then to the wilderness beyond. This is what birds see, only they're free and safe. The very opposite of me. The ride lasts about half an hour before the windows black out, suggesting that we're nearing the arena. That hovercraft lands and Sina and I go back to the ladder. Only this time it leads down into the tube underground, into the catacombs that lie beneath the arena. We follow instructions to my destination, a chamber for my preparation. In the capital they call it the launch room. In the district it's referred to as a stockyard, the place animals go before slaughter. Everything is brand new. I'll still be the first and only tribute to use this launch room. The arena is historic sites preserved after the games. Popular destination for capital residents to visit, to vacation. Go for a month, rewatch the games, tour the catacombs, visit the sites where the deaths took place. Can even take part in reenactments. They say the food is excellent. I struggle to keep my breakfast down as I shower and clean my teeth. Sina does my hair and a simple trademark break down my back. Then the clothes arrive. The same for every tribute. Sina has had no say in my outfit, does not even know what will be in the package, but he helps me dress in the undergarments. Simple tawny pants, light green blouse, sturdy brown belt, thin-headed black jacket that falls around my thighs. The material in the jacket is designed to reflect body heat. Expect some cool nights, he says. The boots worn from light-tight socks are better than I could have hoped for. Soft leather are not unlike my own at home. These are the narrow flexible rubber sole with treads enough, so good for running. I think I'm finished when Sina pulls the gold mockingjay pin from his pocket. I'd completely forgotten about it. Where'd you get that? I asked. All the green outfit you wore on the train, he says. I remember now taking off my mother's dress, pinning it onto the shirt. It's your district token, right? I nod and he fastens it onto the shirt. It barely cleared the review board. Some thought the pin could be used as a weapon, giving you an unfair advantage. But eventually they let it through, Cecina. They eliminated a ring from District 1, the girl 2. If you twisted the gemstone, a spike popped out. Poison one. She claimed she had no knowledge the ring transformed, and there's no way to prove she did. But she lost her token. There, you're all set. Move around. Make sure everything feels comfortable. I walk, run in a circle, swing my arms about. Yes, it's fine. Fits perfectly. Then there's nothing to do but wait for the call. Cecina, unless you think you could eat more. I turn down food, except a glass of water that I take tiny sips as we wait on the couch. I don't want to chew on my nails or lips, so I find myself gnawing at the inside of my cheek. It still hasn't fully healed from a few days ago. Soon the taste of blood fills my mouth. Nervousness seeps into terror as I anticipate what is to come. I could be dead, flat out dead in an hour. Not even. My fingers obsessively trace the hard little lump on my forearm where the woman injected the tracking device. I press on it, even though it hurts. I press on it so hard, a small bruise begins to form. Do you want to talk, Candace, Cecina? I shake my head, but after a moment hold out my hand to him. Cecina encloses it in both of his. And this is how we sit until the pleasant female voice announces it's time to prepare for lunch. Still clenching one of Cecina's hands, I walk over and stand at the circle metal plate. Remember what Hamish said. Run, find water. The rest will follow, he says. I nod. I remember this. I'm not allowed to bet, but if I could, my money would be on you. Truly? I whisper. Truly, Cecina. He leans down and kisses me on the forehead. Good luck, girl on fire. Then there's a glass cylinder is lowering around me, breaking out our handhold, cutting him off from now. He taps his fingers under his chin, head high. I lift my chin and stay as straight as I can. The cylinder begins to rise. For maybe 15 minutes, I'm in the darkness, and then I can feel the metal plate pushing me out of the cylinder, into the open air. For a moment, my eyes are dazzled by the bright sunlight, and I'm conscious only of strong wind and the hopeful smell of pine trees. Then I hear the legendary announcer Claudius Templesmith. I can hear Templesmith as his voice booms around us. Ladies and gentlemen, let the 74th Hunger Games begin.